So we're on the Sandy River this morning in the Portland metropolitan area. We got Jason Hambley and Mr. Ang up front, and we're gonna do some bobber dogging and some jig fishing and see if we can trick some steelhead today. There he is, there he is.
Stick on.
Stick on. Dave, where's your float? There it is. Put that next to your 20 pounder.
Heck yeah.
The old limb cod to start the day.
So we're right below the deadline here to where we can fish out of a boat. Me and Dave are both running bobber dogging to get going. We're just kind of moving fast until we get out of the park and just bobber dogging our way through here. We're just running a stick float, or I mean a side drifting float with a stick weight. We're running a 1/4 ounce, just keeping it light, and that way we don't go piling through a bunch of gear, and the water's low, and so we don't need a bunch. We'll see what happens. So last week I was at the Sportsman Show, but the week before I was on the lower river and fished it for 2 or 3 days, and fishing was really good one day and kind of tough the next. So it's been up and down, but overall it's been a pretty good winter considering. And so hopefully today's one of the up days. Last night we had a little bit of rain, and I figured maybe that the fish would kind of be pushing up with this rainfall, and so hopefully we can bombard them on their way through.
At this river level, you know, a good indication for stuff is just looking for the darker green soft water. That's where the fish are going to be resting. They're not going to be in as much of the shallow, riffly clear stuff. They're going to be more in the deeper stuff. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Some soft seams and some riffly water at the top ends of holes. We might find one laying in there. We'll see. Dave?
Just from past experiences and just kind of knowing what fish habits are on this stretch of river, we're kind of boogieing down and get down to the lower end of the park. It's not that you can't catch them up here, but it seems like up here they're moving more than they're staging. It seems like there's a few holes down a little bit further where they start staging up. So we're just kind of fishing fast through this upper part.
Dave just broke off, so we're gonna retie up a nice old peachy color bead. I like the peach color in this little light green water. First light. It's called Kelly Sunrise.
This one here I'm rigging up. I got a mottled Charisse on the upper bead, and I'm going to run a dropper, and I'm just going to run a smaller size 14 sweet pink cherry.
I'm just retying after breaking off up there, and you know, you got your float, and a little bit different than what I'm used to. They got a little bumper down here in front of the split or the weight, and you can use a little stick weight, and then down to a 16mm bead, and then down to a smaller bead on the bottom. So you got, you know, 2 different size beads covered, and hopefully you know, different watercolor and columns are covered as well.
So here on my bobber dogging setup, I like to tie on a little bumper, a 20-pound ultragreen here. And the reason I like to do this is when you cast, it'll propel your float straight into the air. So when you hit the water, you're down and you're fishing a lot faster. And then I just go down to just a typical double bead setup here. Dave, your trail mix is in the way.
That's mine.
Right there. Just down to a double bead setup.
There we go. Oh, came off. That's some head shakes.
Womp, womp, womp.
Darn it. Close, but no cigars. So on the setup, I got some 30-pound high-vis braided line by P-Line, and I got it down to just a regular old double bead setup on a bobber dogging rig. That's what whatever it was I hooked for a second there came to, but it just didn't materialize.
We're just a few miles east of downtown Portland on the Sandy River, one of the many tributaries of the Columbia that historically are excellent steelhead fisheries. We've drifted a stretch downriver with no luck, but that's about to change.
Nice fish.
Get him, Dave.
So we missed when we slid in this hole We slid down a little bit lower and deepened it up, and I don't know, Dave's second or third cast, he stuck a nice one. Looks like a fresh fish too.
Yeah, it's nice and bright.
Full of piss and vinegar, it seems like.
Sun's out, guns out.
It's like I was saying earlier, we kind of blasted through that upper section, and for some reason when the water gets low like this, these fish kind of stage down this lower portion of the river, and it looks like it's proven to be true again.
That's a nice fish, Dave. One more time to your tip and I'll get him. Maybe. Jesus. There we go. Thanks, Dave. That's a nice little wild fish.
He gets to get patted on the head and go bye-bye?
Yep.
Nice little bitty fish.
Yeah, beautiful little Sandy River hen. All right, go make some babies. We've kind of thrown them everything this morning. We've bobber dogged, we've thrown some jigs, some worms. And this hole, Dave went really deep on a jig and we got it to go on the second or third cast. So we're gonna just keep pressing on, trying to get a couple more out of here. Usually if there's one, there's two or three.
Get him, Jerry? Yep.
Fish on!
Let's go! You want to spot me spot stand?
Yeah, please, Dave.
That's a good one.
That's a beautiful fish. Let's pull over the bank and get a good picture of this one.
Welcome back to the Sandy River. I'm Justin Wolf. We're winter steelhead fishing with Dan Fisher, Jason Handley, and Dave Ing. And so far, the fish are bright and beautiful.
After a little slower start this morning, we started focusing more on some float and jig fishing. In the last, all four of our fish so far this morning have come on the nightmare pattern. So we're just gonna keep picking this hole apart and see if we can't find another one laying in here.
We've had this period of low water that's been going on for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now, and I think the fish have just been holding up down here and staged in this lower portion of the river because of that low water, and I think they've just been getting pounded on by beads, and that's why I think we've had a little bit of success with the nightmares, is because they probably just haven't seen quite as many jigs as they have beads. That's just an assumption, but it seems to be a good possibility.
Nightmare pattern, white head. It's got a red collar on it, some black hair, and a red yarn throat.
My theory is on the nightmare, why it works so well is just the three solid colors, a hard contrast. You know, the red, the black, and the white. It's just all three good steelhead colors, and it's all contrasting. So I think it works on every river system I've ever fished. The nightmare works.
One just rolling right down there. Hey, I'm gonna get him. Oh, look at that low hole.
He's trying to give me a chance here.
When you're fishing jigs like this, these nightmares we've been doing quite well with. A lot of times guys will gunk some super gel on there or some beta oils, and it kind of mats down the feathers, and I don't believe it's able to breathe as well. So a lot of times I'm running this krill water soluble for winter steelhead. This is a very good scent. It's got a good potent fishy smell to it, and fish seem to like it. It's easy, you just spray it on. Piece of cake, and you're ready for action.
So why krill over shrimp, Jason?
It's got a different fishy smell to it, and it seems like it works really good consistently. Sometimes too, I'll throw a little anise in there, and sometimes that could be really good some days. But shrimp's not a bad scent at all. It's just krill seems to be pretty consistent, especially in the water soluble. Might as well drop the anchor, Dan.
Drop it again?
Yeah. Fish.
Nightmare jig.
This might come as a surprise.
There's only one way to get a double.
That's right. Another wild one.
Imagine that.
Good to see them all, though.
Yeah.
Up at the Cedar Creek Fish Hatchery, they raise some hatchery fish there. They take some of the brood stock from down at Jack's place, and also gets a few that go back up the creek. They kind of mix the two, so. But I didn't bring the tank today, so we're letting them go. This one here is this is probably a little average, maybe a little below average for the wild fish. You see a few of them are a little bit bigger, but still, regardless, it's a good fish. Nice pretty little buck.
Another little bucky.
Yeah, we'll let her go drink.
So today we're in the 18-foot Clackacraft, and this is a good, it's a good 3 to 4 person boat. We have all our gear in here, more rods than we need, and plenty of room for all of our activities. And we like this boat. It's super versatile. You can put a motor on it if you want to use a motor to run back up through the holes, or if you just want to side drift and pull plugs all day or bobber dog. It's a great versatile boat that we have here at Clackacraft.
We have more fishing to do, but first, here's your Yakima Bait Minute.
That's the thing, drift fishing. When you're drift fishing, you know, you got your line coming down to a sinker, leader, and you're offering, and you cast out across and upstream with just enough weight on there so it'll bounce the bottom often enough so that you know you're there. And you follow your drift along with your rod tip, and if it stops, pauses, hesitates, does anything different, yank back on it. If it were a snag, like that one, you'd have been snagged anyway. Waiting won't help. But if it were a steelhead, you just set the hook. In fact, most people, when they catch their first steelhead, they say, I thought I was hung up. I thought I had the bottom. I yanked back and it jumped. So that's the golden rule when you're drift fishing, because with drift fishing, you're fishing by feel rather than with a bobber where you're fishing with your eyes. So, but I got the bottom. I'm probably gonna break this off, maybe, unless I'm really lucky. Woo, maybe I was lucky. I got everything back, but I got a feeling my hook if it was my hook that was hung, it might be bent. So we'll check.
Welcome back to the Sandy River. I'm Justin Wolf. We've had great luck this morning with jigs under a float, but after a short dry spell, Dan Fisher has decided to try out the bait of eggs.
Got it. There he is.
All right. Did you get one?
Yep.
What'd you get it on?
Little sack.
Little sack.
We just dropped down here into the next spot. Jason gave us the location on where we should cast, and made my first cast, and there he was. Dave, what you munching on over there?
An apple.
Lunchtime? Apple a day keeps doctor away.
That is a keeper.
There we go.
Hand me that Procure fish bonker. Nope, no hole punch.
Little buckaroo.
It is a broodstock return though.
Little maxillary clip on it.
Yep. This one here is a returning fish from the broodstock program. You can tell by the maxillary clip right here. If you look at the other side, you can see it's fully extended there. That side's clipped right there. And then it also has the adipose fin clip. Good job, Dan.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Now, if you're in the market for a drift boat, one thing you need to consider is the total package, which includes the oars. The oars are crucial. So before we go, here's a little breakdown from Jake Gregg at Clackacraft about the different types of oars you might consider for your next drift boat.
So hey guys, Jake here, Clackacraft. Hey, I want to just kind of show you some of the oars we carry. Obviously there's lots of oars out there. These tend to be the more requested, or I guess you could say popular oars for us. Our preference here is Sawyer, and then we also have some Cataract oars. So we kind of picked up two of the different styles here of the Sawyers. This one being right here, a shoal cut square top. And what a square top oar is, essentially, it's weighted here with this square portion right here. I'd say probably anywhere from maybe a pound and a half, a little bit over on these guys. And what that does is kind of contradict your blade weight, just assist you a little bit. So that way it makes it a little easier to lift them out of the water, makes the oar feel lighter because you got a little extra weight right here. So this is a really, really popular way of doing it. In fact, most of the Sawyers we sell in the wood versions have the square top on it. These ones right here are a Sawyer shoal cut Dynalite, or it's called an X-weave. So it's got what we call a lot of swing weight to it, a lot of really good flex to the oar. A shoal cut blade, I guess this can be considered a little bit newer thing. It's a great oar to feather with. It also gives you a little more grab in the water, being a little wider surface here, whereas a traditional oar tends to be a little bit more squared off on it. And then we got over here is a a Dynalite square top right here, and what this is a carbon oar. So I would say it's probably a little stronger oar, gives you a little bit more swing weight as well on it, being it's got some good flex to it. It's also a square top. Yeah, you can get these without the square top if that's something you don't want to get. We don't carry them here at Clackacraft, but we could probably get them in stock for you, or you can go to Sawyer Direct to get those as well. So what we have here is also a Smoker Bandit, a Sawyer oar as well. This is there's a big popularity with the lightweight oar market, and this is their version of the lightweight oar. One thing I do like about their version, it might be a little bit heavier overall than some of the other ones out there, but it's a very strong oar, very durable, very strong. They also do have a blade option. I don't have one here to show you, but a shoal cut version of this blade too, so you have a little more dig in the water with that shoal cut. So that's something you can get as well, because their blades are replaceable. So if you do beat one of these up on this oar, you can replace this. You might want it so you can swap these blades out too, so you can go with the shoal cut blade maybe in your low water seasons, and then go back to your other blade for big water blade. So if you want to get technical on it. Otherwise, either one of these blades would be really good blades to put in those oars. And then you kind of got your more, I would call it standard kind of tried and true, been around Cataract oars. If you've ever seen these on a raft or a drift boat, they come in various colors, blue, yellow. We carry just the standard black one here at Clackacraft, but you can also get this blade it's called a cutthroat blade. It's their version of a shoal cut blade, which is the rounded blade. You can get either one of those blades with their version of this oar. This oar, is a little heavier oar. Again, it's just kind of standard oar. It's before all the lightweight market stuff, but it's a very good oar. You'll see these guys been using these for 15, 20 years. Again, there's lots of different oars out there. If you have questions, you can always give us a call or watch this video again.